Alright, what's up, No Limit Gaming players? MGold40 here, giving you guys a little video on what to expect at the North America WCQ this year. The expected, forecasted metagame, as well as just overall things to expect when playing at Nationals this year. So guys, the metagame has been very diverse. I know a lot of players really dislike diverse metagames like this, but this is a very healthy game that we're currently in. I want to talk about all of the decks that are currently seeing play up until today, the things that we know, and there can always be that mysterious factor that always makes a guest appearance at an event. So first of all, we'll talk about Mermails to start. Mermails are expected to be the deck that wins Nationals this year. This deck made a very fantastic showing at Euros this past weekend. Took a lot of players off guard. The deck still has a very fantastic engine, one-for-oneing a majority of your opponent's cards. And I know a lot of players really seem to discount this deck because, you know, it's hit or miss when it seems to show up into competitive play. I know a lot of players also don't want to see this deck because it's been around for quite some time. You know, with Abyss Gunde being limited, I know a lot of players were like, the deck's still not that good. The deck still has as much power as it's always had. The deck wins by its mass one-for-ones and having massive floaters that really puts a damper on your opponent. So if you guys are going into North America WCQ this year, make sure you guys know your Mermail matchup inside and out. Make sure you guys know what you can do. And make sure you know how to counteract water. So I would recommend side deck cards that are going to strengthen yourself for the matchup, because if you do play against water, you might not be as prepared as you think you're going to be. Dealing with the rest of the meta, as you guys can see here, there's a lot of things that have recently shown up that'll kind of take you a little bit off guard. On the flip side of the Mermail coin is Girgia. This deck has been around for quite some time. I know a lot of players have been playing this deck since the near beginning of this format. The deck is very consistent for what it does. It really gives Hat a run for its money. And at the beginning of this format, when YCS Philadelphia happened, basically everybody knew about Hat, but players didn't actually realize how good the Girgia matchup was for Hat. So Girgia still proving to be one of the most consistent decks in today's metagame, because Girgia nets you into your big XYZ, and it has one of the best chainable trap cards in the game. And as long as it has a consistent floating engine, much like Mermails does, this deck really can perform optimally well. If you guys are going to Nationals, just make sure you guys know how to play against the Girgia matchup. I mean, there's really not much to talk about for this matchup. I mean, it is really annoying having to deal with face-down armors. Just make sure you have cards that can take care of face-down cards. I know Acid Trap and Nobleman Across out have been things people have been considering for a while now, so it works both ways. Next up is Hat. Hand Artifact Trap Tricks. It is very, very, very fragile deck. I don't know if Hat players will agree with me when I say that statement, but it's a bunch of different themes that go together that you think wouldn't go together. The deck functions relatively nicely on the aspect of messing up your opponent's plays during their turn, you know, searching for trap cards, things like that, and using the hands to stun your opponent. It is the current anti-meta deck doing what it needs to do. If you guys are planning on playing against Hat or playing with Hat, make sure you guys know the Mirror Match. It is one of the most grindy games I can recommend. Make sure you guys know how to play against Hat. Try not to let your opponent stun you too much. If you know your opponent has a Sanctum, just make sure that you know you can force them to not use it at a time that it will devastate you. Next up, with the $30 buy 3 structure deck, Judgment Dragon and Lightsworn and company have really come to mess up the current metagame. Now, combined with the Dragon Rulers, these two little pipsqueaks, a lot of players are playing this deck. I know Patrick Hoban's on this train as well. I know a lot of players don't seem to really understand how to play against this deck. It's kind of funny because we did have a Lightsworn era back, I believe, after Teledad got destroyed. Lightsworn were tier 0. You know, Charge of Light Brigade, Christia, Triple Honest, Triple Celestia. It was really a different time. The deck has kind of bitten its tongue for a while. It really hasn't seen a lot of play until now with the release of Raiden and Minerva. So if you guys are playing against this matchup, you're probably going to complain about getting sacked by Lightsworn. I mean, I can't really blame you. Just make sure that if you're going to do something about it, I mean, just make sure those Needlebug's Nest don't hurt you, or make sure that you have Dweller online ready to go. Just slow down your opponent. I know a lot of players cite in DD Crow for this matchup. I wouldn't worry about the different name to Lightsworn. Sometimes, like they mentioned on the Euro stream, it's just a losing battle trying to control your opponent. Same thing with Dragon Rulers. These two go hand in hand together. Of course, Bujin, ally of Justice Cycle Reader, pretty much doubles for this matchup as well. I know a lot of players are like, well, Bujins are not as good as they used to be because they're not getting any more support. The deck is just what it does best. Yamato, set 4 back row. Sounds like another deck that we know and love. But, I mean, there's not really much to say about Bujins. They've been around for a very long time. Cycle Reader should pretty much win you that matchup. Just, you know, don't attack foolishly into your opponent's Yamato, knowing that they have a Crane. Of course, Madoshe are still floating around, as usual. I know a lot of players seem to kind of discount them for not being as good as they should be, but Angeli still makes the deck really, really, really what it is. I mean, if you disrupt their normal summon for the turn, you pretty much win. Just know if you're playing in the Madoshe matchup that it is as easy as it sounds. Just disrupt their summon and you win. With ARG Philly, Sylvans were a really popular deck there. I believe Jeff Jones top 16 with it. The deck really was catching a lot of players off guard because I don't know if they just didn't know that Rose Archer was a card, or they had just discounted the fact that Rose Archer was a card. I'm not quite sure, but it was a really big, fantastic surprise. A lot of players really didn't see Sylvans coming. I do think that they could be a big competitor for the North America WCQ, just because even to this day, players still don't know how to play against the deck, and players still generally are afraid to play against the deck because they don't know all the combos that it's capable of doing. The deck is very combo-based. I would recommend that you pay attention to your opponent, make sure your opponent doesn't cheat you in some way, shape, or form. I'm not condoning Sylvan players, I'm just saying that a lot of players have complained because they feel that they're getting cheated in this matchup. Just pay attention, read your opponent's cards, and make sure that you are aware of what your opponent's doing. Also, the last anti-meta deck that kind of made a splash, Evil Swarm, they're always around. Wherever there's a big tournament, Evil Swarm will be there. Wherever someone is trying to top 16 with Dragon Rulers, Evil Swarm will be there. The deck just comes and goes like a fad. It's like, alright, well, level 8s are special summoning today, Evil Swarm will be there. I'm not saying that this deck will be a major threat at the North America WCQ. I am saying that I would be aware that this is a deck, and this deck can bite you in the ass. With Euros, Prophecy made a really, really fantastic showing. A lot of players have forgotten that this was a deck. Like, even I did. I didn't actually expect them to get top 4 at Euros. And it was very nice to see that this deck showed up, demonstrating how great Spellbook of Fate still is to this day, manipulating the hands, not letting yourself get destroyed. And just how consistent the deck's engine is in itself. Now, I don't know if you have to dedicate a side deck to this. I know a lot of players at this point in time, I want to say, have gotten used to the matchup, but it is really, really, really easy to break the deck. And if you don't know the matchup as well as you should, I'd practice it. It can bite you pretty hard. Next up, with the Latin America WCQ, Gadgets ended up winning. This ended up making a lot of players question the Latin America metagame. I'm not saying that it's good or bad, but a deck like that winning kind of proves that Rogue has a chance in the current format. So it kind of has given a few players the chance to kind of redeem themselves, the chance to want to play other stuff at events. That sounds very cliche, I know. But it's one more Rogue meta deck that could be a possible threat to you if you're playing meta, and if you don't know the matchup all too well, you are going to lose to it because of that very reason. And then last up is the top 4 stun deck. If you guys don't know, Latin America top 4 stun deck actually made it, and I know a lot of players were like, what? It was basically just Mausoleum of the Emperor with Christia and all of the Vanities. Now, Vanity's Fiend here is a side deck card that's been starting to make a little bit of a guest appearance in and out as times are going. Of course, you know, all it is it's just a level 6 monster that says, monster effects cannot be activated. The card functions as a stun card in and in itself. Combined with things like Safe Zone, that top 4 stun deck really proved that it could tear up a lot of the competition because a lot of players didn't know the matchup. Now, going into the North American WCQ, I'm saying that other players will probably try to adapt a similar idea to it, foreshadowing possible success of the deck from Latin America. Like I said before, I know a lot of players have discounted the meta because of the rogue decks that did show up in Latin America, but it really was fantastic to see that innovation was coming from that side of the world. So guys, this is the current metagame in a nutshell. Leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'm out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please thumbs up this video to show your support, and please check out Vancole40 for Cardfight Vanguard, MCole Games for miscellaneous trading card games, and No Limit Gaming for a brand new series of Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Thanks for watching.